Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be doing some Vintage Cube Draft, which I've been eagerly awaiting doing for the YouTube channel. We did a stream last night where, interestingly enough, one of the two drafts we did had Ancestral Recall in it. So we're definitely taking Ancestral Recall for reasons that should be incredibly obvious. One of the Power 9, 1 mana, draw 3 cards. Basically, the only card of its kind on that power level. Oh my god, okay, so pack 2, we have 4 cards that are worth consideration here. We have Demonic Tutor, Volcanic Island, Soul Ring, and Upheaval. And honestly, Soul Ring is so strong, if there's a lot of people that argue that Soul Ring could make the Power 9 Power 10, but Mana Crypt, Mana Vault exists, so maybe not. I think Soul Ring is what I should pick here. Demonic Tutor definitely goes in the Storm deck. Volcanic Island definitely goes in the Storm deck. Volcanic Island being one of the most sought-after duels, I think just behind Underground Sea. But we gotta take Soul Ring. It's so broken. It is so broken. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of good cards here. So we have Dig Through Time. There's also Tundra. So we could take Tundra and have... and start going towards a control deck. I was thinking maybe Storm would be fun to draft, because Ancestral Recall in Storm is just absurdly powerful. But I'm gonna take the Fixing here. Path would be very good, but I still don't know exactly what I'm playing. Okay. So if we wanted to go into the Storm route, there's Imperial Seal and Repeal. There's also Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike can go in the Storm deck. It's a win condition with, what's it called? Thousand Year Storm. You can use Lightning Strike as a way to actually win the game. It's also playable in control decks. What do we take here? Dreadhorde Arcanist could flashback Recall, and if we get a bunch of 1-mana spells, could actually be really good. In a tempo style situation. We haven't seen anything that Soul Ring breaks yet, at least to my knowledge. I think I take Lightning Strike, though. No idea if that's correct. There's Cabal Ritual and Gitaxian Probe if we want to play Storm. There's also Soul Scar Mage if we want to be aggressive. Honestly, the, aggressive, prowess creature-y burn is really good with Soul Ring. Or is really good with Ancestral Recall, I mean. It's not actually that great with Soul Ring, but Soul Ring could power out a Koth on turn 2, which would be sweet. I think playing Storm is kind of a pipe dream here. I'm gonna take Soul Scar Mage. And I think we're gonna try and go Is It shenanigans here. Wow. Lotus Petal, Memory Jar, and Chrome Mox. The other problem that I have with trying to play Storm is the draft where we were picking Storm cards, there was 4 Storm cards in every pack, and it was what cards do I take? Someone else is going to be in Storm. It's just the density of Storm cards is too big, or too great. We're going to take Young Pyromancer, because we're definitely playing this deck. Wheel of Fortune's definitely what we're taking here. If you're playing Mono Red with burn spells, you can just dump your hand and then draw 7. Especially if you have Soul Ring to cast slightly more expensive things. Jitte is ridiculously powerful. Actually, hang on. Jitte is so strong. It just completely invalidates creature matchups, and if we're playing cheap creatures, we should get hits in. I'm gonna go with Wheel, but that's just because I'm biased towards instants and sorceries, I think. Oh my god, Confidant. Who's disrespect Bob so much that he's being picked? What is this? Number 8? 8th pick Bob? Oh my god. I'm gonna take Fire Blast. Because I'm going to try and be aggressive and just dump my whole hand, I think. Dark Confidant, though. You know what? I'm taking Confidant. Screw the Fire Blast. Goblin Guide is perfect. That's right. We're adjusting to draft Fun Police. Sacred Foundry could potentially allow us to splash something, like a Giver of Runes as an example. I think I'm going to take Fatal Push, though, because it synergizes so well with Young Pyromancer. It could help clear the way. I will take Koth. Ooh, Thalia. Thalia is worthy of a splash. I will not be playing Honor of the Pure. Not unless something insane happens. I've had a little bit more of my coffee this morning than usual. So hopefully it means I'm slightly more on top of things. Alright, I'll go. Okay, pack 2. How do I pick between these cards? How? So we have Mox Ruby, which is if you know anything about playing mono white or mono red, I think those are the two Moxes that are the most powerful in their respective vintage cube decks. Because like playing a turn 1 Eidolon of the Great Revel, or like just having access to 2 mana on turn 1 is so strong if you're playing mono red or mono white. Mana Crypt, on the other hand, is like a double Mox, but it's also my arch nemesis because I think it's killed me more times than we've cast threats to win the game. I'm gonna take the Mox Ruby because we have Wheel of Fortune, I think. This is like an impossible choice though, and you could easily argue either direction on that, but I'm gonna take the Mox. Fiery Confluence, easily the best red card in the format. Taking it. Ooh, Badlands. We are looking at Push and Confidant, so Badlands is definitely worth it here. Banefire we'd be eager to have after it comes around. Avalanche Riders we could play really early because we have Soul Ring and Mox. Yeah, taking Badlands. We probably are not playing Tundra. I'm still going to splash this Ancestral Recall. I'm going to find a way. Maybe I will be playing Tundra to splash Ancestral Recall. I will take Manamorphose to splash Ancestral Recall. You know, I kind of forgot what I was doing for a second. There's Manamorphose. Yeah, I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to take Manamorphose to help splash Recall. It's also a free prowess trigger for Soulscar Mage or Young Pyromancer. You just play 5-color Burn. Okay, Wooded Foothills. Can Shatterskull Smashing deal damage to players? It cannot. Okay, Wooded Foothills can grab Sacred Foundry or Badlands. So I really want the fetch land here. Duretti can be good. The double black cards would be nice, but they're going to be hard to play. Turntimber Symbiosis. Sulfuric Vortex? I like Sulfuric Vortex. We could start taking rituals, like the red rituals, and go free win red style, because we have so much free mana. Yeah, I'm going to take Sulfuric Vortex, because the effect is so strong. Okay, this is tough. We are planning on going wide, which means Hellrider is going to be very good. The only other consideration is Faithless Looting, and the only reason I say that is because if we're trying to play things like Ancestral Recall, we need to be able to kind of churn through our deck faster. It's a flashback spell. Hellrider might wheel, but I think we gotta take creatures. So I'm gonna take Hellrider. I don't know why they added Gaddock Teague to this format, because, like, other than Flame Slash, Path, and Oust, I guess, no, because Unexpectedly Absent can't hit it. Other than, like, those cards, how do you answer Gaddock Teague? Like, it just shuts off the vast majority of decks trying to do something fun. I guess I'll take Electromancer. I'm not going to be able to play Teague. Flametongue Kavu is great. Earthshaker Kenra is great. Banefire or Avalanche Riders. We're getting kind of heavy in the 4-drop slot. I would really like a Banefire here. Desperate Ritual or Siege Gang Commander. I think I take the Desperate Ritual, not because Siege Gang Commander isn't fantastic, but just because I want to be able to dump my hand quickly. Well, alright, we'll take the Commander. Shatterskull Smashing, it's a land that's also a spell. Card we're not going to play, and card we're not going to play. Okay, I would like a Steam Vents. A Steam Vents and some more red fetch lands. We already passed on Volcanic Island, so... Time Twister? Are you kidding me? Could have had the sweetest Storm deck. I am going to take the Steam Vents for reasons previously enumerated. I want to be able to play Ancestral Recall. Inferno Titan coming around would be great. Same with Coercive Portal. I would take a Misty, but I doubt that would come around. So, I'm taking Steam Vents. We're probably not going to play Electromancer. We'd like Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning. Those would be good. Bitter Blossom is playable. So is Thundermaw. I got a feeling that Thundermaw will come around, whereas Bitter Blossom will not. So, it's also cheaper. So we'll take Bitter Blossom. There's a Burst Lightning, an Abbot, and a Blood Crypt. Blood Crypt helps us play things like Push, Bitter Blossom, Dark Confidant. Abbot should come around. We don't have a lot of burn. We have a Lightning Strike. I think I take Burst Lightning. Pack Rat, there's a Pack Rat, which can win the game by itself. Yeah, I'm going to take Burst Lightning. Kolaghan's Command is fantastic. Collective Brutality is also good, but I think K-Command is slightly stronger in our deck. I want to have some direct damage. And K-Command helps out a lot. Plus, the artifact destruction mode really matters in this format. Like, I lost a game because my opponent Nature's claimed a Signet I needed on a color that they were main decking. So artifact destruction matters. Okay. There's a Raging Ravine. That doesn't really help. There's a Karn. I guess we take Ferocidon. It's going to be the most punishing thing for any opposing aggro decks we could play. Recruiter of the Guard is good, but yeah. It's better in, like, Kiki combo deck style decks. Fire and Ice. This is a burn spell that is also a spell we can cast for blue. I actually think this isn't a bad burn spell. We could take Lava Claw Reaches to help make the Black Splash easier. I'm probably not playing white for Thalia, because the mana is going to be hard enough as it is. We're going to be basically mono-red Grixis. I'll take Fire and Ice. There's a Creeping Tar Pit, a Mox Diamond, and a Lightning Bolt. This is another tough pick here. So, I really want Lightning Bolt. Mox Diamond can actually help us cast Ancestral Recall because it can make any color of mana, which means it lets us Fatal Push, Bitter Blossom, Dark Confidant. You play it as a spell, not as a land, but I think we really need this Lightning Bolt for reach. We already have an on-color Mox. Alright, I'm taking Lightning Bolt. I would play Sword of Fire and Ice in this deck. I also would play Wasteland in this deck, but Swift Spear is definitely the pick. We're not playing white. I'll take Duress for the sideboard. Seagate Stormcaller, if we made the blue splash a little bigger, could work. Because just like getting a second bolt is good, but I think Duress is going to be slightly more playable for us. So we're basically playing Rakdos aggro, splash blue for Ancestral Recall. Because why wouldn't you? Take Thundermaw. Okay, Abbot of Carol Keep is completely playable in this deck. I mean, I could just splash black for Dark Confidant and Kolaghan's Command. Yeah, I guess Selfless Spirit in the side. Experimental Frenzy. Experimental Frenzy is not really good in our deck because of how many 4 and 5 drops we have. It's way better when you're playing, like, mono 1 drops. Sun Titan, sure. And Containment Priest for the sideboard. Alright, well, we did not get another red fetch land, which is a little disheartening. Okay. These are all effectively lands, including the Mox. So, group creatures separately. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with here. I'm not playing Thalia because I'm probably not playing white. Not playing Goblin Electromancer. We're splashing blue exclusively for Ancestral Recall and nothing else. I need to cut more non-creature spells, I think. So, Experimental Frenzy's out. Shatter Skull Smashing is just a mountain. We can run it for free. I mean, if I play these 4 black spells, I actually have, like, reason enough to be running a few swamps. And we do have a Badlands. This is actually a 2-drop. And this is effectively just a 2-mana Forked Bolt at instant speed. That's what this card says. There's like a 3% chance of being able to tap a permanent and draw a card. So if I need to cut non-creature spells, I need to bias and cut my larger mana cost spells, which means I think I take out Koth. He's good, but I think maybe we cut Fire and Ice. I don't want to cut Ancestral Recall. It's so good. Especially in a deck like this. I think that means I cut Fatal Push, even though Fatal Push is really good in this deck. And we might be siding in Fatal Push. I don't want to cut any more creatures because we only have 13. Technically 14 if you count Bitter Blossom as a creature like I do. If I had to cut my worst burn spell, I guess I would cut Lightning Strike or Banefire. The problem is that Banefire, actually the uncounterable clause can matter, but I think I'm going to cut Lightning Strike. I mean, like, I probably should be cutting black, or I should actually cut Ancestral Recall, as absurd as that sounds, but I'm going to make it work. So we're going to play Badlands, Steam Vents, Wooded Foothills, Shatter Skull Smashing, and Mox Ruby. Then add basic lands. I'm going to have 3 black sources, 4 if you count Manamorphose. Oh, and I'll add 1 more mountain. We have an absurd number of red sources, 4 black sources if you count Manamorphose, and 1 blue source, which means if we draw Wooded Foothills, we fetch Steam Vents basically every time. Oh man, this deck is absurd. I should have drafted Storm because there was a brain freeze and that would have been awesome, but alright, I'll see you guys in round 1. Alrighty, round one, here we go. I'd love to play first. Yeah, sure. We'll keep. Start Mountain Soul Ring. We're basically going to play Pia and Kirin Nalaar, and then Flame Tongue Kavu and a bunch of burn spells to clear the way. Opponent starts... God, I can't talk. The opponent starts with an Inquisition of Kozilek, sees our hand, can only take Lightning Bolt or Burst Lightning, takes Lightning Bolt. Our hand just happened to dodge Inquisition, which is really nice. We draw Banefire. Play Pia and Kirin on turn 2, because that's fair. So 4/4 worth of stats across 4 bodies, or 3 bodies on turn 2. I mean, I guess it's 4. It's a dual legendary creature, right? Opponent plays Botanical Sanctum and a Wishclaw Talisman. We untap and draw Manamorphose. So go to combat, attack for 4, and I think I just passed the turn. I could play a Flame Tongue Kavu and kill my own Thopter. That puts a lot more damage on the board. I'm actually going to do that. If my opponent has like a Toxic Deluge, I'm going to be really sad. Okay. Opponent plays a Mountain and Duretti, Ingenious Iconoclast. I make a 1/1 with Defender. We untap and draw a Mountain. Play a Mountain. We could actually kick Burst Lightning and kill Duretti. Or we could just shoot our opponent's face. I'm gonna Manamorphose here into blue-red. Okay. Let's kill Duretti. Attack with everything at our opponent. Opponent blocks with the Construct, takes 3. We gotta really hope they don't have a Wrath. We play Volcanic Island. They are Wishclaw Talismaning. I mean, we could go Wishclaw Talisman for Thundermaw and then just Thundermaw them. Opponent Toxic Deluges. Sure. We untap. We draw a Swamp. Let's go Tutoring and see what the best possible card we can get is. And why it's Thundermaw Hellkite. Yeah. Get Thundermaw. And then we follow up with a big uncounterable Banefire for lethal. So our opponent has to have an answer to Thundermaw or they lose. And even if they gain a little bit of life, they can still die to Banefire. They get to Tutor though, so they should be able to find an answer to Thundermaw. I think their best possible card would be Faith's Fetters. Okay, we untap. Draw Earthshaker Kenra. They Assassin's Trophy Thundermaw. The Mountain. Banefire for 6. Can't be countered. Nice! Oh, that was mean. So my opponent is playing a slower deck. I mean, we had Soul Ring, so our deck was insanely fast that game, but like, it's possible we want Duress here. Did we even see a creature out of them? We saw a Planeswalker. Perfect, we have all of our colors of mana, and something to play on every turn. Let's do it. Opponent starts Wandering Fumarole. Start Mountain Swiftspear. Get in for 1. Opponent plays an Orzhov Signet. We draw Flame Tongue Kavu. Play Badlands. Play Young Pyro. Get in for 1. Four mana spell. Vraska. They kill a Young Pyro. We untap. We draw Earthshaker Kenra. So Shock Steam Vents. Play Ferocidon. Kill Vraska. We're gonna need a land, but that's what Abbott's for. Yeah, opponent plays an island. 5 mana. Golos. They take a damage. They get to ramp out a land card. Okay. Get a Godless Shrine tapped. We untap. I'd like to draw a land. We draw Kolaghan's Command. I mean, that's pretty good. So, my opponent has 3 cards left in hand. We can either shoot them for damage, or we can make them discard. I kind of want to make them discard. Kill Golos. Prowess trigger. They discard Stirring Wildwood. Hit them for 5. They go to 12. Had we drawn a land there, it was possible that I just attack, let them block down Monastery Swiftspear, and then Flametongue Kavu to kill Golos. We still do need to draw land. When it plays Daretti, they're going to kill Rampaging Frostodon by sacrificing Orzhov's Signet. They play Spellseeker, and they tutor up Demonic Tutor. Okay, we untap. We draw what is effectively a land. Play Mox Ruby, Prowess Trigger. Play Abbot, because we can still play a land if we hit a land. Play a land. Play Earthshaker Kenra, and we'll say Spellseeker can't block. Go to combat. Kill Daretti, hit her opponent for 2. So if they tutored up Toxic Deluge... Well, if they tutor up Toxic Deluge, they're going to lose their Spellseeker, and we can Eternalize a Kenra if we draw one more land. When it plays a Mountain, Demonic Tutor. Great art on that tutor, by the way. Opponent gets something. Show and Tell. Do we put in Pia and Kirin, or do we put in Flametongue Kavu? I think we put in Pia and Kirin. Opponent puts in Emrakul. We might be able to kill them, even through an Emrakul attack. We untap, we draw a Mountain. Play a Mountain. Play Flametongue Kavu. Kill Spellseeker. Go to combat. Hit them with everything. I don't think we hold back a Thopter to block Emrakul. Do we? They can animate Fumarole and attack with Emrakul, but if they do that, we just Flametongue Kavu to block. Opponent blocks down Pia and Kirin. Goes to 3. If they have removal and can still animate Fumarole, we die. So I guess I should have kept back a Thopter, but... Opponent goes to combat. Attacks with Emrakul. We're gonna sack like this, I think. Take 15. Go to 3. Our opponent is dead to us top decking Lightning Bolt, even if they did have some kind of board wipe here. Nice. Ancestral Recall, Prowess Trigger. This gives us 3 more draws at a Lightning Bolt that will instantly kill our opponent through any trickery. Do they have a counterspell? Expansion. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have cast that. I'd laugh really hard if my opponent hit same targets. They did not. Okay. When it draws 3 cards. So in my greed, I technically gave my opponent 3 chances at an out of some kind. Play a Mountain. Go to combat. If I die, it is by my own hubris. Hubris. However you pronounce that word. Nice. Alright. Moving on to game, or match 2 here. Round 2. Alright, we'll play first. Yeah, this is a turn 1 Young Pyromancer. I'm gonna keep. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Library of Alexandria and draws up to 8 cards. They play Mox Diamond, discarding a Swamp. We untap and draw Wooded Foothills. So, play Wooded Foothills, go to combat, attack for 2, play Soulscar Mage, and pass. Opponent draws up to 8, plays an island, and plays a Signet. Okay. On my opponent's end step, we'll fetch with Wooded Foothills and get a Steam Vents. Tapped. Untap. We draw Bitter Blossom. So red-black, Manamorphose, Prowess Trigger token, Manamorphose into black-red, play Bitter Blossom, Prowess Trigger, go to combat, attack for 5. I wonder why it's using this elemental art instead of the proper one, because that is not the right elemental. I mean, if we draw a land and drop Hellrider and our opponent still hasn't interacted, it's game over. When it loots, discards Probe and Daretti, plays an island, plays a Thassa's Oracle. We untap, get a Bitter Blossom token. We draw Earthshaker Kenra. Well, play the only card we can play. Earthshaker Kenra, say Thassa's Oracle can't block, go to combat. attack for a lot. Opponent goes to 7. They've taken themselves off of Library of Alexandria, which is fine. They play Lion's Eye Diamond. Is this Storm? This could be Storm. Play Badlands. They're all the right colors. Time Spiral. Cracking for blue. It is Storm. We draw Ancestral Recall. Turn off auto yields. Turn off auto yields. Opponent is not in a good spot for Storm. You definitely want to have some kind of mana advantage. And I guess Lion's Eye Diamond technically counts. But if they do nothing, I'm going to Ancestral Recall on their end step. Actually, if they do nothing, they're probably just dead and I shouldn't show them Ancestral Recall. I could play out like a Goblin Guide or something like that. Well, they're going to probe me anyway, so they're going to see it. If they get down to too low of cards left in Library, which I won't imagine they'll do, but if they do, we could Ancestral Recall them to kill them. This is the bad thing about playing Mind's Desire X3, okay? I completely lost my previous train of thought, so I'm sorry anybody who was trying to like follow me along there. Let's see what they get off of Mind's Desire. Four free spells they can cast in whatever order they want is pretty good. Frantic Search. That's a big deal. Island. 1,000 Year... Oh, no. No way. Dark Ritual? Okay. They cast 1,000 Year Storm. They make 1 million black mana. They untap their lands 1 billion times. Yep. 5 Dark Rituals. Okay. Well, they definitely should win from this position. That much is certain. So they Frantic Search. They go looting. Frantic Search. They go looting. They did not untap their lands again. They probably just have it then. They got Tinker as well. That's something we have to be aware of. 5 copies of Seething Song. Opponent has 12 cards left in their deck. Okay. And Tendrils with 14 copies. Alright, you got me. I wonder if it's worth swapping up here and trying to splash Thalia instead of like Bitter Blossom Confidant. I definitely want Duress. Duress is a thing that's going to happen. We could like bring in Duress for recall, drop Steam Vents to play Sacred Foundry, and then bring in Thalia, because Thalia makes Storm basically impossible without answering her. Yeah, maybe we do Thalia, drop Confidant, Bitter Blossom. Maybe we don't run Duress. We'll drop the Swamps, play a Sacred Foundry. I guess we would actually play a Tundra here, even though it's a colorless land. Maybe not, though, because we do have a lot of double red. And then, like, bring in Lightning Strike. Oh, we don't need Kolaghan's Command. Okay. We can play a Mountain instead of Kolaghan's Command. We have no reason to splash black anymore, which means we can take Badlands out and replace it with, like, a Plains or an Island. I think I'd just replace it with a regular Mountain, though. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're swapping up to run Thalia. Play first. Yeah, this is keepable. We'll keep. Start Wooded Foothills. Fetch with Wooded Foothills. We'll get Sacred Foundry and Shock. Play Goblin Guide. Get in for 2. Opponent reveals Duretti, Scrap Savant. They play a Mountain. We untap. We draw a Mountain. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Reveal an Island. Hit our opponent down to 16. Shock Steam Vents and pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays an Island. Maybe I should have recalled on my turn. Cast Recall. Cast Lightning Bolt. Untap. Opponent has to discard due to hand size. Duretti. Play a Mountain. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent draws another Island. Take them to 11. Pass the turn. And our plan is to Lightning Strike on their turn, then Hellrider on ours, then untap and Banefire, I guess. That should be enough to kill them. Okay. Opponent starts with an Island and casts a Frantic Search. And discard 1,000 Year Storm and a Mountain. They play Mox Diamond. Discarding an Island. They're going to Tinker. And what's their big Tinker target? Bolas's Citadel? Well, if they go low enough, Lightning Strike can kill them. Okay, Lightning Strike end step. We untap. Drop Ferocidon. Play Hellrider. Go to combat. Hit them for 7? Oh, whoops, that was the wrong order. I should have put the Goblin Guide trigger on the stack first. Opponent goes to 1. They draw Library of Alexandria. So opponent has to storm off without using Bolas' Citadel. This is a sweet Tinker target, though, for the Storm deck. Ritual. 1 blue mana. 2 blue mana. Time Spiral. They're lucky we don't have any untapped mana, or they would die. Untap their lands. Storm count of 3, storm count of 4. Desperate Ritual. Grim Monolith. Time Twister. Okay. They're looking for a way to win. Baral. They might have found it. Frantic Search. Discarding Library and Island. Probably untaps 2 islands and a mountain. Yep. They need double black if they're going to kill us with Tendrils, which they don't currently have. And unless they have a Mox, a Dark Ritual, a Cabal Ritual, a Manamorphose, or a way to untap Mox Diamond, I don't think they can do it. If they Brain Freeze us, we can actually Lightning Strike on our upkeep to kill them. They're really thinking hard in the tank. So if it's not obvious, they may not have it. That or they're going for some major rub-ins. Opponent is tapping mana, finally. They're going to show and tell. I'm going to put in Thundermaw, because if it's Emrakul, it enters tapped. Oh, they put in Memory Jar. They only have 1 red mana, though. Oh, I should have put in Flametongue Kavu to kill Baral. We draw a new hand of 7. Cast Ancestral Visions off the top of their deck. Okay, Seething Song. The worst part is my opponent could take 10 minutes. Oh, they're gonna cast Past in Flames and pitch their hand for the right color? Yep. Alright, then we're probably dead. They make black mana here and discard Tendrils, we just lose. After 10 minutes of debate on how to reach it. And they're adding blue mana. They flashback Seething Song. Oh, they're gonna Mind's Desire the rest of their deck? Or they can, I guess, if they want to. Yep, literally the rest of their deck. And Tendrils was not in the cards that got exiled to Memory Jar, so we lose to Storm. We were very close. I technically made a misplay there. I could have put in Flametongue Kavu to kill Baral, which may have made the difference. Bitter Blossom, Kolaghan's Command, all of our colors of mana. Did my opponent keep 7? They did. I'm gonna mulligan because I want a hand that does something sooner. Like this one. We'll keep. I'm gonna put back Banefire. Opponent starts Hissing Quagmire. We draw Wooded Foothills, play Swiftspear, go to combat, get in for 1. Opponent goes to 19. They untap. Play a Swamp. Hymn to Turok, hitting our only 2 action spells. 1 out of 5 times 1 out of 4. 1 out of 20 chance that happens. Play Wooded Foothills, crack Wooded Foothills. Get a Mountain. Attack for 1. Well, Hymn to Turok's pretty good. Come on. What is this, Karma? I'm not going to ask what I did to deserve this, because I can imagine about 400 things. Most of them Tron related. Oko! Oko! Alright. Opponent is Sultai nonsense with Oko. Yeah, I'm not making adjustments for this. We just run it back. Alright. We'll play first. I only have something to do on the first few turns, so I'm gonna keep. Play a Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent starts Island, passes. We untap, we draw. Play a Swamp, play Earthshaker Kenra, and attack for 2. Opponent plays a Lumbering Falls tapped. We untap, draw Badlands, play Badlands. Go to combat, attack for 2, and we'll leave up Kolaghan's Command. If they play any artifacts, we can destroy them. We can ping off any small creature. Opponent plays a Swamp. Plays Oko. Makes a food. Alright. Well, I hate that I have to do this. So, make them discard, shoot Oko. Make them discard Thieving Skydiver. We untap, draw Swamp, play a Mountain, burst Lightning Oko, and then we have to attack Oko. That was a 2.5 for 1 on our opponent's part, and all they had to do was play a Planeswalker. That's it. Not to mention they still gain 3 life at some point when they want. Okay, opponent taps out for an Ophiomancer, which is kind of a big problem. Plays an Agadeem the Undercrypt tapped. We untap. Opponent gets a snake. A really good snake, too, mind you. We draw a Lightning Bolt, play a Mountain. Play Siege Gang Commander. But, like, short of top decking a Hellrider here, I'm not sure we have, like, many good options. We can't attack, because our opponent would just kill it for free. Okay. Opponent plays a Jace and brainstorms with Jace. Plays a Flooded Strand. Passes. We untap. We draw Sulfuric Vortex. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is Bolt Jace. Siege Gang. Sacking a Goblin. Siege Gang. Sacking a Goblin. Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 5. Opponent goes to 11. They crack Flooded Strand for an island, shuffling away all the cards they brainstormed. I don't think there's a universe where we could have left Jace alive, just to get in some extra damage. Play Chupacabra. Kill Siege Gang. Play an island. They crack the food. They Time Walk. Oh man, yeah. I'm glad we didn't leave Jace alive. 3 mana. Opponent plays Narset, Parter of Veils. So there'll be no Ancestral Recalling for us. They get a Repeal, so they can pay 1 blue mana to just get rid of the token. The good news is, Sulfuric Vortex should resolve, and if it does, because if they have Remand, Daze, Miscalc, or they don't. I was going to say Mana Leak, but we could get through all of those counter spells with Sulfuric Vortex. They repeal Narset to draw a card. Interesting. So we untap. We draw. Mountain. Go to combat. Attack for 3. If they block the token, they're taking 1 turn off the clock for Sulfuric Vortex. And Sulfuric Vortex actually invalidates our opponent's food, which is nice. Play a Mountain. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent takes 2 from Vortex. Looks like our opponent's going to play Narset. They downtick to find Skull Clamp. They play Skull Clamp and pass. We untap. We take 2. We draw Pia and Kieran. I'm going to leave Earthshaker Kenra in the grave. We're going to go ahead and attack for 1. Our opponent, of course. Opponent takes 1, goes to 6. And then we'll play Pia and Kieran Nalaar, which gives us enough mana to ping something. Okay, opponent has Counterspell. Pass the turn. They untap, they take 2. They go to 4. Downtick Narset, they find nothing. And we're going to Eternalize Earthshaker Kenra next turn, which they could animate Lumbering Falls to block if they find a green source, or they have one. But I'm pretty sure they're dead. Yep. Alright. So Sultai Control. I think we're set up as good as we can be to beat our opponent's deck, so we're just going to run it back. We fought through some pretty powerful stuff. Porter is trying to, like, push this toy into my hand to play fetch. And my hand is right by the mount for the camera. Hey, go lay down. I'm almost done, and then we will go for a walk. Yeah, I wish you could see his expression when I said that. Go lay down for now. We will keep. Opponent starts Creeping Tar Pit. Play Wooded Foothills. Crack Wooded Foothills. Let's get a Steam Vents, untapped. And we're going to play Soul Ring. Pass the turn. Soul Ring helps us potentially cast more cards next turn. When it plays Dark Confidant, we draw Young Pyro, play a Mountain, and we'll cast Fiery Confluence. We'll do 1 damage to each creature and 2 damage to each opponent twice. Not that Confidant wouldn't be helping us here, but I don't think I can let my opponent draw that many cards. Next turn, I think we play Siege Gang Commander. Or try to, anyway. Fiery Confluence is so good. It's easily the card that gives me my highest win percentage in Vintage Cube. We draw Bitter Blossom. Play a Swamp. We'll attempt to Siege Gang Commander. Oh, whoops. Let's see. Red, red. Black, 2 colorless. Siege Gang. Okay, opponent has Daze. So they counter Siege Gang. They untap, they play an island, and they pass. We untap, draw Soulscar Mage. So attempt Young Pyromancer. Play Bitter Blossom. They're going to counterspell Bitter Blossom. Okay. So now is the time that we attempt an Ancestral Recall. We get a token out of the deal and we draw 3 cards. Then we can just dump the rest of our hand and play Wheel of Fortune next turn. Okay, pass the turn. When it plays an island. Chupacabra to kill Young Pyro. We untap. I actually think Wheel of Fortune's better for my opponent in our current situation than for us. So play Earthshaker Kenra. We'll say Chupacabra can't block. Play Ferocidon. Go to combat, swing out. Hit them for 4, take them to 12. I'm not going to play this out as a land. I always have that option next turn if I want. When it plays a forest and passes, we untap, we draw Hellrider. We can play Hellrider or we can play Shatter Skull Smashing. I think we just go for the big swing with Hellrider here. They have to counter this or remove it. We take a damage, go to combat, and swing for the fences. Swift End, okay? Opponent takes 2 damage from this. So we go to combat. We're still attacking. Opponent's going to kill Soulscar Mage. They're going to take 6 and go to 4. Okay, pass the turn. Yeah, Ancestral Recall here was really good, because while Wheel of Fortune would also have been good, the fact of the matter is we didn't want our control opponent to just draw a fresh hand of 7. It'd be different if I was like, if they were tapped out and us drawing a lightning bolt kills them, like that kind of a thing. Which could still happen next turn, but opponent freeboots. See Shatter Skull Smashing and Wheel of Fortune. Take Shatter Skull Smashing. They go down to 3. They play an island, and presumably they cast Murderous Rider, because it has lifelink. And depending on what we draw, I might just fire off Wheel. They decide not to cast Murderous Rider. They're just... Oh, no, they're not just dead, because they can animate Creeping Tar Pit. Okay, we draw a mountain, play a mountain, and I am going to cast Wheel of Fortune here. Okay. Play Swift Spear. Opponent Ancestral Recalls. Okay. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. We're trying to tie up their mana as much as possible here. I think my opponent actually has to animate Creeping Tar Pit to block, just to survive. They have a Heartless Act. Sure. We could Manamorphose to save Swift Spear, but my opponent is planning on going down to 1, it looks like. Okay. They go to 2. Fatal Push. Alright, so we trade off our whole board, and then we cast Sulfuric Vortex, and hopefully that'll do it. We have a number of redraws and stuff we can play next turn. It resolved! Opponent untaps, takes 2 damage, goes to 1. Man, the game is lagging so bad. I remember when Moto didn't do this. It didn't do this unless you played for like 6 hours, kind of do this. They play Jace, they brainstorm, they're trying desperately to find an answer to Sulfuric Vortex. They don't find it, and they scoop it up, leaving us to go 2-1, getting 100 play points, and I hope you guys enjoyed this very silly episode of Vintage Cube. It it was an interesting deck, you know. Pack one, pick one Ancestral Recall, take no other blue cards. And it was good. It was still good. Surprise, surprise. 1 mana, draw 3 cards. Who would have thought that was good? And Porter is very, very much getting in my face right now saying, hey, you promised me a walk, and you got excited, which means you're done. So... Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you want to see more Vintage Cube, don't fret, because there will be more of it. It's my favorite format. It'll be taking up the limited slot for a while. There might be a time where I am traveling, and when I am traveling, you probably will get exclusively Vintage Cube uploads during that time, because that's the best kind of content to backlog, I think. Because it's kind of timeless, whereas constructed content kind of has to be like up to the day or week to be the most relevant, but... Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember, you can follow me on Twitch, same username over there as you find me on here. I'm streaming kind of randomly across this next week, and next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the last guaranteed scheduled stream for at least probably 2 months. Which I'm not happy about, but if the internet's good enough, I'll keep streaming. If it's not, that's going to be the last one for a while, so you're going to want to tune in because it's a ton of fun. Anyway, I hope to see you all there. You're all wonderful human beings, and I really appreciate your support.